Round number 1 of Dodge Viper Cup took place right here at historic Virginia International Raceway. We started 10 cars, and it turned out to be the start of a brand new era for Dodge and SRT. Well, a year and a bit later, we're back here at Virginia International Raceway with the biggest show we've ever had. This is going to be race 1 of 2 at VIR. This is Dodge Viper Cup.
Welcome to the 5th round of the Dodge Viper Cup, presented by Pennzoil Ultra. There is a look at turn 1 at beautiful Virginia International Raceway, where in just a couple of moments, a huge field of Dodge Viper Cup machinery is going to be thundering down into that corner from a standing start. It is spectacular. I'm Greg Creamer. You've already met Tom Natchew, and the field is out on their pace lap, and we're going to get you right to the starting lineup where Ben Keating, 4th consecutive pole and on fire, 1.3 seconds clear of Jeff Courtney with his 3rd front row start of the year. Row 2 is made up by 2 guys with their second row starts of the season, Ted Hughes and Dave Fiorelli. Row number 3 has Eric Galern making his first start of the season, and Mike Von Quillick, who is a regular in the championship, of course. We go to row 4, Todd Nelson, a good qualifying effort, as well as Connie Bogan laying a great lap in her number 10 Viper. Then Kurt Solberger and Brad Gorandona, who's the owner of Keith Verges' car from last year. This year he's decided to race and making his first start. Larry Carter and Bernie Katz. Bernie also making his first start of the season. And then we go to Brian Mask. Brian is a Canadian autosports journalist. Dave Masick, a regular in the championship, of course. Chris Barant, an extreme snowmobiler. We'll tell you more about that in a little bit. And making his first ever start in the championship, Marc Montour from Quebec. And then AJ Morgan having electrical issues and not able to get out in qualifying. And Ralph Gilles, who actually qualified 5th, just missed the pre-grid. Rules are rules. He starts at the back. The lights are on. When they go out, we go racing, Tom.
And so many times a standing start has been predictive of exactly what's going to happen in a Dodge Viper Cup race. Here we go, Greg.
Oh, and a great start from that 2nd row by Ted Hughes. He timed it beautifully, but the thing is, can he do anything with it? And already, looking back from Dave Fiorelli, we got Von Quillick and Galern giving a little bit of a bump and go there. Action already. We're not even down into turn 1. Here we go now, through that snug corner on board with Todd Nelson, and he gets caught up in that and sends Von Quillick spinning off. So as we talked about, didn't take long for things to start shaking up, quite literally.
Todd Nelson probably didn't want to do that, but it was something that just happened. Here we have it from the back of Mike's car, just the slightest bump, but Greg, those cars are so up on their tiptoes at that time. I think you could just shove one like that and it would be off the track.
I think absolutely. It's just one of those momentum issues, a little accordion stack up, and he got into it. Meanwhile, now through the first section of S's, and this one's challenging enough. The second section is really intense, and you can see you can't do that. And yet a couple of guys, and one of them was AJ Morgan. We just got a shot of him. Now we hop on board, and AJ from dead last, who had to be immensely frustrated because he's in the championship hunt. This kid is going to be going to the front like a shuttle launch, I would think. Should be fun to watch. Now up into Oak Tree, one of the iconic corners in all of North American motorsports. Keating and indeed Hughes able to get around Courtney. That could be huge, and Keating already starting to get away a little bit, Tom.
Well, Ted Hughes is driving like he's never driven before in Dodge Viper Cup. His biggest concern, of course, is Jeff Courtney. The two of them racing each other allows Ben Keating just to get away just a bit.
And Ted doing a great job. Remember, Courtney, a veteran World Challenge competitor in Vipers and one of the real shoes in this type of equipment. And Ted Hughes right now not letting him find any way through, and really not letting Keating get too far away either, as they make that roller coaster down ride down into that final corner, turn 17, 17A, and onto the front stretch. Keating has a margin, but boy, I'll tell you what, Hughes doing a nice job, and Courtney, not an opening.
Today looks like a fantastic day as you see that beautiful onboard shot. But I got to tell you, it's 103 degrees ambient temperature. Track temperature is something around 155 to 160 degrees. The transmission tunnels by now in these Vipers is well over 180 degrees. Looks great, but feels hot.
Very, very warm indeed. As Morgan, we talked about, speaking of warm, he's on fire now, up and past Katz and continuing that remarkable charge to the front. We knew he'd make a run, but boy, he is getting through some of this traffic incredibly quickly. As beautiful as this track is, a long race course, not particularly wide, and with these big thundering Vipers, makes it all the more challenging, and A.J. Morgan is doing an exceptional job.
Now, we've seen him make passes in 2 different places so far where you just can't pass at VIR. So A.J. Morgan's motivated, and Ralph Gilles in behind him, equally motivated to get back up to the front. That's where part of this story is going to play out today, Greg.
Absolutely. Now, this is that first section of S as you come underneath the bridge, now into the next section, which are wicked quick. And this is where you can see some amazing action on board with AJ. Up and over the rise, there's the condos on the left, and then into this tight left-hander. That's turn 10, sets you up for Oak Tree, and he's got a bit of a run, but not much of an opening, but he goes for it deep on the brakes. Beautiful move by Morgan.
A.J. Morgan is motivated. Look at how deep he went on the brakes, and of course, this is the most important part of the track. You need to get a great exit off this corner to do well at the end of the straightaway. A.J.'s done.
He has indeed, so the current order is Keating, Hughes, Courtney Fiorelli, and Galern, but Nelson, Bogan, Mask, and Morgan already into the top 10. Welcome back to a very hot and humid Virginia International Raceway. Those are the legendary S's here at VIR, and that's the view you hope you have through that fence, up close and personal, watching these beautiful Dodge Vipers on the hammer. Speaking of which, there is Ben Keating, and here is our battle for second, and Courtney now has closed it right back up on Ted Hughes, and he is really up close and behind. I'm not sure that's the view Hughes wants to see. Nothing but Courtney's grill.
Yeah, Jeff Courtney definitely getting a lap in here. Got a great exit off of Oak Tree, and Ted Hughes takes a look and says, Jeff, après vous, monsieur, après vous.
Yeah, and that was very, very nice on Hughes' part, because he could have feinted over and made that tough, but I think he knew Courtney had the run, raced him clean. Courtney comes through clean. Now the question is, obviously Jeff a little bit quicker than Hughes, but is he quick enough to run down Ben Keating? Because as this now has unfolded, here's a look, I mean, basically at the margin that Keating has over Courtney, it's going to be a tough day for Jeff.
Well, this isn't the way it played out in Jeff's head at the beginning of the race. Of course, what Jeff was thinking was get a great hole shot and lead this thing. So it changes the strategy upside down, but once again, Jeff Courtney's got to deal with Ben Keating for the front position.
Absolutely, and it is a tough day. You're very frustrated when you start in the front row and end up losing a spot. Meanwhile, A.J. Morgan is continuing his attack through the field, coming up on the back of Brian Mask, and this is going to be for 8th. Currently, Morgan's in 9th down the inside, and he is through on Brian Mask. And a great opportunity for Brian to go to school here, to watch one of the best in the series do this. This is Brian's first race, and we talked to him earlier, and he said, you know what? This is a whole new ball game.
When I got the call to drive in Dodge Viper Cup, there was no question in my mind. It wasn't even checking my calendar. This was a priority for me, so it didn't matter what was in my calendar. I dropped everything, and of course didn't even ask my wife. So I made this number one, and I'm thrilled to be here. I have 2 Honda Civics. They make 135 wheel horsepower. They weigh 2,000 pounds. So these cars we're driving this weekend are 3,200 pounds, 640 horsepower. And I was expecting similar levels of grip, but oh no, these Michelin slicks have a much higher level of grip. So it's a totally different animal. I've been racing my cars for 4 years pretty consistently. Throughout the summer, it's every 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm in the car all the time. So I've got more experience than some of these drivers, but some of these drivers have been driving these cars for 1.5 years. So I'm really not sure what I'm entirely up against, but we'll give it a go.
Well, like we said now, that very renowned Canadian autosports journalist has an opportunity to go to school and watch a little bit. The problem is that A.J. Morgan doesn't stick around for long, and he's already caught the number 18 of Todd Nelson, and he's got Todd a little bit off his rhythm here. This is not a section you can normally do much with. A.J. thought about it because he could see Todd was just a little bit off the apex, maybe watched his mirrors a little too long, Tom.
Well, Todd Nelson has already been mixed up in this once. You know he's going to want to avoid that again. But A.J. Morgan shows a little circumspect here. And his big hurry to the front, that's a sign of a mature driver in a very young body, Greg.
That's true. You know, you forget how young he is when you look at the results he's had, let alone in this series. But, I mean, he obviously, like many guys, started in go-karts, but he's done midget racing. And, boy, that's some racing where you've got to have an intense focus. And he's doing a nice job up into 7th, but it's still Keating and Courtney and Ted Hughes on the podium. For any road racer in North America, this view is a legendary one. The Oak Tree Turn at Virginia International Raceway. And we are in the midst of our 5th round of the Dodge Viper Cup presented by Pennzoil Ultra. A key corner, that is, leading onto that long back straight, but this is a sequence of corners that is everything to run. And we're watching the newcomer, Mark Montour, getting hounded by Mike Von Quillick. Remember, Mike got tapped early in the going, spun to the absolute back of the field, and Von Quillick now has his own strong charge coming up, and this is heading into Oak Tree, and he's there. Oh! Tough to make it work there, and he got into the side of Montour. He got the chrome horn early. This time he gave it back, and he's limping away. He's got it gathered up, and Montour sitting on the edge of the track. All right, good. He's got it running. He's got it in gear, it looks like. Gonna try and get it going up onto the track once again, and turns it right back off. Problems. An absolute newcomer to this series, but he says it already feels like family.
It's very impressive. It's a great opportunity I think I have. Great people also here. People from Dodge, other racers, even people from VIR. They're all there to help us out. You know, I'm a rookie, first time here, so I don't know where to go, what to do, and they made it all easy for me. Going up to Oak Tree, I find it really challenging. The other half of that track is also very, very fast. You know, I need more miles on that track. Well, my son is a car nut, so he doesn't have enough of these two highs to understand what's happening here. Crew's having fun also. Everyone is happy. Everyone's happy to be here. We're having a great time. I plan to do more of these.
You know, Greg, he comes from a town just right next to Mont-Tremblant, Quebec. I know that's one of yours and my favorite tracks in North America. And he's getting his first taste of Dodge Viper Cup. His crew, brand new at the game, but obviously very professional. Let's pick up Dave Mazik.
Ooh, bit of a moment there. We were riding with Mazik, and Brad Gorandana just got it a little bit wrong. Back end finally stepped out, couldn't quite hang on to it, but he was able to keep it off of the barriers for the most part. Just tapped it, but I'll tell you, once again, we're seeing just how sturdy these beautiful Vipers are. As he accelerates away, almost looks like no harm, no foul.
Yeah, I got a little bit of dirt on those Michelin tires, and that's the thing with these Michelin slick tires that are designed for Dodge Viper Cup. They have unbelievable grip, but it's not infinite.
Well, and hot tires, especially slicks, they pick stuff up, and then you lose your grip to the track surface until you get them clean. Meanwhile, talk about clean. Look at this. A.J. Morgan has come up through the pack. He is now hounding Eric Galern, and that's Fiorelli in front. Look at Galern. He got Galern off his rhythm as well. You can't pass there. And just because he got Galern in his mirrors and got him to miss the apex time, I think he's through. That was superb.
That's two. That's 2 times he's done that today. Anybody will tell you. Anybody you know is a pro racer will say you can't pass there. Let's talk about Ralph Gilles a little bit now. That number 1 car coming through Oak Tree, and all of a sudden he's got traffic in the form of Kurt Solberger.
Absolutely, and again, Gilles had a 5th quick qualifying time, very fast as well, and got moved to the back just because he showed up a little late to the pre-grid, and the rule is a rule. And so now he's got to deal with this. Look at Solberger, these cars, identical horsepower, so if you get the eagle run off the turn, you better be close enough to get the draft. He wasn't quite there to be able to take advantage of it, but again, he's got Solberger now running a little wide. Well, I'll tell you, this track, you know, we talked about, it's so serpentine, Tom. You look in the mirror at the wrong time and suddenly you're 3 feet off the apex and you're in trouble.
It's a mind game. The whole thing here is rhythm. It's being able to keep up that momentum. As our friend Peter Cunningham once said, you need 2 things at this track, momentum and momentum, to get you around here, and Ralph Gilles trying to use everything he's got in his arsenal to get Kurt Solberger off the game.
Here he comes, just deep on the binders, down to the inside.
I don't know. I think
now it's too hot though. Yeah, too deep.
I think that maybe that was a bit ambitious on Ralph's part. But wow, what a pass for at least a while. Did he make it stick? That's the question. Meanwhile, more action.
That's right. Now we move up, and this is the battle for the 4th spot right now. Fiorelli in that yellow to orange, and that's not Doppler. That's how it's painted. They're fast, but not quite that fast. And then
They don't change time and space.
That's right. Then you got, and Galern. That was, I think, just sort of a fixation on the rear bumper there.
That's what I mean. It's a mind game.
Yep.
I mean, you see the guy in front of you do it, and you do it too. All 3 drivers in that sequence dropped their left side tires off the track.
And each one in order dropped it a little bit more. And now, here we go. Morgan looking to the inside, deep on the brakes. He's through.
I don't know. I think maybe Dave Fiorelli said, this is inevitable. Let's just go ahead and get it done here so I don't break my momentum. I think that was a good bit of driving by Dave Fiorelli.
I think so. I think, yeah, you're right. I think he saw Morgan was going to make the move, and he said, let's keep both of these cars together. Now down through that beautiful serpentine fall away from that corner complex. 14 down to 17A onto this front stretch. And watching more action here as they come under the bridge. Meanwhile, Keating and Courtney are 1-2, but it's still Keating keeping the gap, but it's closing. An absolutely beautiful picture of a glorious venue, Virginia International Raceway.
But
what it doesn't tell you is the heat we've got here at this 5th round of the Dodge Viper Cup, presented by Pennzoil Ultra. Both the weather and this battle for the lead. Jeff Courtney, well, there's a look at some of the heat haze that's coming off of the tarmac on the ground there. But Jeff Courtney, since he got around Hughes, has been slightly quicker than Keating, and in fact has set the fastest lap of the race by 0.4 of a second. But he's running out of laps, and because Keating's margin was just a little bit too big.
Yeah, he got around Hughes, and that's the last thing you want to see is that white flag come out. He needs a couple of laps to actually run him down, but it's all in the mind. VIR is so much in the mind, and Courtney shows Ben Keating that he's coming. The only thing he can hope for is that Ben Keating makes some kind of mistake.
Yeah, Courtney's got to be relentless. Keating's got to be perfect. And right there, you saw the back end step out. And just that save, he's lost a little bit of that momentum that you were talking about. And look, you can see Courtney's made up half of that margin as they head into the second set of S's.
I did not know that was going to happen. But there you go. I mean, it's all in your head here. Jeff Courtney's got to run, but Greg, he's got to go deep into Oak Tree to even have a shot at this.
Yep, got to make it up under braking, but not mess it up on the exit. And Keating, boy, just hit your marks. Be perfect. Do not lose any more momentum. Here's Oak Tree. Keating looks good. Courtney came in way deep, and he drops the left rear just a little bit. Now the question is, that save, you got to breathe it now. Has he lost that key momentum? Is he close enough in the draft? And in the earlier passes, we saw Courtney making all those passes by Morgan. Everybody was gentlemanly. No more. This is for the win. This is Ben Keating.
I don't see any reason for Ben Keating to be a gentleman about this on the white flag lap of round number 5. When you're in the points lead as well, Ben Keating wants this as bad as he wants anything.
You betcha. Had a great run in the championship last year, but was not champion. He leads it now. He's not going to go quietly, but Courtney is there. He's within a car length, but now the last couple of turns through 17A onto the front straight. Keating, no mistakes. Courtney, nothing he can do about it, and Ben Keating wins his second straight race in the Dodge Viper Cup presented by Pennzoil Ultra, but Jeff Courtney has put together a superb drive. If not for a slightly bad start, losing that one spot, who knows? Ted Hughes, a great drive by the virtual club racer to come in here and run with these guys. A.J. Morgan from near dead last up into 4th. Ralph Gilles doing the same thing, a great run as well. But for Morgan, huge in terms of the points. Here they are, Keating and Courtney. But look at Morgan, so close, and it could have been so much worse. He stemmed the flow, if you will, with a brilliant drive by that young man. And right now we're watching Keating, and you can see Courtney there as well, enjoying the cool down lap. But Ben Keating doing some celebrating as well. Big burnout, and take a look at what happens here. It's an interesting moment here. Very Eric Curran-esque, if you remember Mosport a few years ago in the Wheeling Corvette. But to Keating's compliment, he didn't get the barrier. So nicely done on the celebration. And into victory circle, Tom Natchew's waiting.
All right! Oh, listen, that's just a storybook day. On the pole by 1.5 seconds, and at least that kind of a margin at the end. You had to be giving up a little at the end.
I was giving up a little bit on the end. Jeff was coming up on me pretty strong. But, you know, we're trying to make it interesting. The ViperExchange.com Viper today was incredible. I had the best time in qualifying I've ever had here. We had a great race, and I'm just, you know, the very first inaugural Dodge Viper Cup was here. I won it. I wanted a two-peat. I wanted a repeat. Tomorrow we'll make it a three-peat.
All right, congratulations, old man.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Jeff Courtney, no matter how you do in this Kendrick number 99 car, it always seems like that 32 car has just got a little bit more, 33, I should say.
Yeah, I got a terrible start, obviously, and that held me up, which changed my plan. My plan was to just hound him and make him use his tires up. Flip the page. I'm the one using my tires up, trying to track him down. I mean, I was catching him, but there just wasn't enough time.
Well, you know, this is a long season, and there's an opportunity for, you know, points to be made up in a whole other race for tomorrow as well.
Yeah, the Kenda 99 will be back strong tomorrow, guaranteed.
Well, Ted Hughes, you know, a start is almost everything in a Dodge Viper Cup race, but that's not everything all in total. You still had to race these guys, and what a job you did.
You know, I figured if I could get a good start, I could tuck in behind Ben and then just kind of stay there and then just try and stay with those guys as long as I could, and that's what I did. And Jeff's just too fast back there down that back straight for me. He's dives into that last corner a little bit tougher than I do, so I couldn't hold him off anymore. But it was fun. It was fun.
Ted, you haven't come out for all of the races, but when you do come out, you tend to have a great showing. What do you owe that to?
You know, I've just a lot of track time. I think it's just a God-given talent. You know, I'd make more races, but my boy's playing baseball, and you know, it's just a family thing. So this is a sideline for me, not a full-time deal. So we'll do what we can.
Well, he's a great shoe as we take a look at the podium. I'll tell you what, he's looking after those kids now, but when they're grown up and out of the house, I think their inheritance is history. Because this guy wants to race, and he is good. Here is a look at that beautiful Viper exchange. Dodge Viper for Ben Keating, a great run today. Next round of the championship, the sex round of this Dodge Viper Cup presented by Pennzoil Ultra, coming up right back here at VIR. For Tom Natchew, I'm Greg Kramer. See you next time.